I'm going to make some guesses about how your narcissist, or the person that you think might be a narcissist, behaved in the beginning of the relationship. And I want you to drop in the comments how many of these you've experienced. And then I'm going to do a couple of follow-up videos on how they behaved in the midsection of the relationship, and then how they behaved leading up to the end of the relationship, or leading up to the discard. So make sure you keep an eye out on my page to check those out as well. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissistic abuse educator and a narcissistic relationship recovery coach. You can book coaching with me, you can book a session with me. The link is in my bio. Now let's get started. Number 1, they displayed excessive charm, charisma, and confidence. Number 2, the relationship started out very intensely. They texted you all the time, called you all the time, and wanted to see you all the time, sometimes multiple days in a row or multiple days in a week. 3, they were extremely interested in you. They asked you lots of questions about yourself, about your previous relationships, about your childhood, etc. Number 4, they were not only love bombing you, but they love bombed your friends and family, trying to gain favor with them. They offered lots of compliments to them, bought them gifts, and showered them with attention, affection, and praise. 5, they rushed intimacy. They sex bombed you, and it was potentially the best sex of your life. Or the sex was mechanical, objectifying, and they only seemed to care about their own enjoyment. 6, they wanted to jump into a relationship and make it official very quickly. Number 7, they showered you with affection, attention, compliments, praise, potentially gifts, extravagant dates, although not necessarily the latter. 8, they started talking about the future very quickly, getting married, having kids, traveling the world together, moving in together, buying a house, buying a business, or something like this. 9, they appeared very empathetic, loving, kind, caring, and attentive to your needs. And that didn't last, but we'll get into that in part 2. 10, they told you things like that they had never felt this way about anyone before, or that they hadn't felt this way for a very long time. That you were unique, amazing, different, the opposite of all of their exes. So much better, special, the light of their life, the center of their universe. And I'm talking within the first couple of weeks, give or take. 11, they told you they loved you very early on. 12, they immediately introduced you to their friends, family, etc. 13, they started to get very upset if you wanted to spend time with your friends, family, co-workers, etc. instead of them. 14, they displayed signs of having a fragile ego, hypersensitivity to criticism, and were a little bit too defensive and potentially paranoid. 15, they reacted very poorly to the word no and totally ignored or disrespected boundaries that you tried to set. 16, they said or implied that all of their exes were crazy. 17, they were very persistent in the beginning and again, wouldn't take no for an answer. 18, they trauma dumped very early on in the relationship. They talked about their traumatic childhood, their abusive parents, or some kind of similar traumatic experience that happened. And I'm talking within the first few dates, potentially the first date, or the second date, or even the third. 19, they very quickly wanted to know where you were all of the time, who you were with, where you were going, what you were doing, who you were seeing, etc. And 20, they were jealous and possessive of you. 21, you had a gut feeling that something was really off. 22, you felt like you had an instant connection, like a soul tie or a soulmate or incredible chemistry, despite feeling that something was off, and you suppressed the negative gut feeling and any red flags that you saw. 23, at some point in the early stages of the relationship, within the first few weeks, there was a point where they got really angry and defensive and kind of lost it for a second, or blew up or overreacted to something, but they very quickly repaired and pulled themselves back under control. 24, you guys had all of the same interests, hobbies, desires, outlooks on life, worldviews, etc. I feel like I could keep going for days, but let me know in the comments, I'm gonna stop there, how many of these you experienced in the early stages of dating with your narcissist. And hang out for part 2 on how the narcissist behaved in the mid-range of your relationship between the love bombing and the discard.